That you go ahead and share that screen. It's right there, backstage.
Oh, what screen?
There's a share screen feature where it says present, like at the bottom. It's on Amazon.
Okay, I'll get to it. I get to it in a minute. I get to it in 1 minute. So you guys, I'm sure you guys can go check out Vic's book. What's the name of the book, Vic?
Accountable Masculinity.
Accountable Masculinity.
Man and you.
Hold tight. I'm gonna blow you up and let you go ahead. And then you get the link. I'll let you put it up. Go ahead.
Yeah. The book's called Accountable Masculinity: Identifying the Disciplined Man in You. It's available on Amazon. It's also a Facebook group by the same name, YouTube channel by the same name, and it's founded on 5 principles. Men focus on themselves. Rule number 2 is no arguing with women. Number 3 is decentralized leadership, knowing when to lead and when to follow. Number 4 is rooted in legacy and equity. What you do counts. And rule number 5 is sexual discipline. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I give assessments based off of 5 different characters in this book. Not even characters, but I use examples of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, JFK, Bill Clinton, and General Petraeus, men in high levels of visibility that had similar situations happen around them, but only one of them came out clean because of his own character. I think a lot of times men get evaluated by characteristics instead of character. So you need to do the same thing. And that book teaches you how to vet for who's going to be a threat to you and your peace.
No doubt. Shout out to my dear friend, sister, but Lady Bashir. She says, for the time that my husband is undergoing PTSD via military, I try to keep his life as peaceful and as stress-free as possible. And Vic, you went through PTSD too, being in the military as well.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But let's get back to it. Hold tight.
Why would he? I mean, you have to be an idiot. You have to be a simp.
So Vic, I got this off. I think Obsidian had, this was a clip Obsidian had, and I think it came off your page. But I don't agree with everything Andrew Tate says, but I agree with him 100% with what he said with this. But hold tight.
What man in his right mind would get married in the West?
I feel like the sanctity of marriage is not respected by men or women nowadays. I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Of course it's not. It's destroyed. So in the West, it doesn't even make logical sense for a man to get married. Why would he? I mean, you have to be an idiot. You have to be a simp or emotionally, like, I'm at the point now where I see a man in the West, and I'm not going to talk about the Arab world because it's different. There's a lot more tradition here. It's many years behind. But if I see a man in America getting married, I look at him like he's a simp. I'm like, you're an idiot. You're a dummy. For what? What are you marrying her for? Like, I mean, okay, if she's your high school sweetheart, cool. But no, she's not. She's a stripper. You met her in a club in Miami. So what are you doing? Why are you marrying her? This is all women's fault. Women did this. We were perfectly prepared with the societal setup until women said they didn't want to listen to us. They wanted to be sexually liberated. They wanted to run around and sleep with whoever they wanted. They didn't want to listen to their fathers. They didn't want to listen to their husbands. And they want to be out there doing whatever. And then they want to flip and reverse it because they don't want responsibility. The average woman on the street, if you ask her what she wants to do, she says, I want to go to school and I want to go to college and I want to have fun and I want to explore and I want to travel the world and I don't want to listen to a man and I want to go all around the world. I want to go backpacking and I want to go to Dubai and I want to go on a boat. And then when that's all done, maybe when I'm 35, then I want to meet a nice man. Then I want to settle down. When men hear this, we're saying, okay, so you want to run around and sleep with everybody. You want to be a slut. And then you want some dude to pick up and pay the bill at the end. No, I don't want to do that. Any man who's optimized for competence refuses to do that. Now, if I, right now, in a hypothetical, because I don't talk about my personal life very much because I have enough enemies. If I went out there and met a virgin, 23-year-old religious woman who's never been with a man, who's going to obey everything I say and trust me to guide and lead her, would I marry her? Yeah, of course.
Yes.
It's not about being anti-marriage. What I am is anti the choice of wives that exist in the world today. If I'm going to go to Miami and meet a girl and be like, oh, she's my girlfriend now, and people say, so when you getting married, you've been together a while, I'm going to say fucking never, because I don't know what she was doing before I met her. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be that guy. And the reason I'm not going to be that guy is because I have been the guy who looks at a girl getting married thinking, bro, if you knew what I knew about her. I can't be that guy. I'm sorry, I can't. And most men optimized for competence can't. And there's not a single man out here. There's not a single man out here in the modern world of this misandrist, matriarchal world where everything about being a man is demonized. If you're remotely masculine, you're called every name under the sun. Who's going to go out there, dedicate himself, work hard, be be motivated, struggle to become rich and important and successful and finally make it out the matrix, the 0.001%, to then pick up some woman who'd been running around doing whatever she wants and just marry her and spoil her so that she could eventually take half his stuff. Men aren't doing that. And it's women's fault.
I see that. I mean,
none of y'all passport bros.
And I agree with Andrew, you know, minus the language, guys, forgive the language. I don't endorse the language, but I agree with him. If I was a single man again, I would not marry the typical average American woman. I wouldn't. My dad and I would talk, and I know he loved my mom, but you know, even in loving my mom, you know, my dad said, you know, even though he was 82, but he gets around good. He said he's not getting married again. And so, if I was a single man, no kids, never married, I would never marry the typical American women. Don't offer anything but trauma, baggage, and many times severely ran through. And so, I'm not selling for that. I'm not. I don't not know other men that want to do it, but me, what my dad got when he married my mom, she was wife ready, no kids, and she was a virgin. Me and are not getting that. So my whole point, what am I signing up for? Why would I have to pay full price for something that's severely used? And I know that might sound harsh, but it's a reality that many don't want to think about, because we still hold men to these traditional archetypes and traditional norms, but yet we don't hold women to the same norms, same standards, and same values. And I think that's why you're seeing the precipitous decline of dating, marriage, and relationships. And spaces like what I'm trying to promote in other men, they're beginning to open their eyes and more or less to reassess and reevaluate what their value systems are and start beginning to demand more. And it's sad because communities are dying. We don't have intact communities. And what you were talking about earlier, Vic, about male mentorship, I do agree with that. I think we do need male mentorship. I think it's important. The only problem now, the male mentorship that we're trying to implement many times might not be congruent with what those men are actually looking for, because they don't see things through the lens of heteronormative masculinity. They see things through the lens of the negative indoctrination that's been associated with their mothers. Anytime we say anything about masculinity in men, it's demonized, and it's a problem. But let's listen to what this woman is saying real quick. Hold tight.
Found a wife yet? Because that's what y'all kept on telling us that y'all was going over there for. We knew y'all was lying, but that's what y'all said.
Why did I move here? I guess it was the weather. Or I don't know, that thing, that magic.
Ain't none of y'all passport bros found a wife yet. Because that's
and have a shelf life. When they get to a certain part, when they get to a certain look, and they
say that?
and they do a certain thing, the shelf life ends. So while you're 20 to maybe 30, if you really take care of yourself, you will get to 35. You will have a nice 15-year run. But after that, you're looked at as the old woman in the club now, right? So that changes what you need to do. You need to know this in advance and take yourself off the market before your shelf life value is over. Because that's how us men look at it. Period.
I want to tear you up, Esso, because this goes back to when I said that's why we need our security. I'm not even going to go there.
Okay,
we're going to rewind the tapes, and now
you can rewind the tapes, because women have a shelf life.
Because I have felt guilty in the past.
Do you think women, Vic, are taking advantage of the shelf life that they have, or do you feel like they are being careless with their shelf life? What's your take on that? And guys, if you want to call in, please feel free to call in. Feel free to call in as Vic and I break this show down. Feel free to pop in. If you got a question you want to ask Vic, keep it under 5 minutes. I'll be in the stream in a few minutes. But feel free to call in. But go ahead, Vic.
I think it goes back to what I said earlier. Women have a different value system. They don't believe that they have a shelf life, and that's fine. I'd say don't even go. I tell men, don't even go back and forth with them. Let the market, show them what their shelf life actually is, because we all have it, so whether they accept it or not, based on a man's value system, we know everybody has a shelf life. We know we can't do the same things we was doing, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, shit, maybe even 6 months ago. Who knows? But that the way that it comes to us, it depends on the ego. You know what I'm saying? Just because you know the words of something doesn't mean that you can, recite them, because it's like knowing a whole bunch of information doesn't mean you could teach. You got a window for how effective you could be at any given point in time,
Right.
So they can argue the shelf life conversation all they want to, but I say let the market decide.
Right. I totally agree, man. And with over 2,000 women, they said 2 million women, if every woman got married today, Vic, 2 million women would be still without a husband.
Yeah, married
right.
If all the men in jail, if every man that was able to be married legally to a woman, there would still be half of the amount, half of those women would not get married. Half of the women in the world will not get married. And then, and also, traditionally it was stated that not every being able to procreate is a privilege.
It's a privilege, right.
And people need to treat it like that. But if people were honest about who they wanted kids with, it wouldn't be so much reactive parenting, there'd be more proactive parenting. I think that has to do with it too. You know what I'm saying? When we start talking about fertility and all of the other things. So man, yeah, shelf life has a problem because I'm gonna go ahead and say this too. I believe a lot of the birth defects come from the men because women are choosing the wrong person. I believe that having sex with the wrong person is witchcraft.
I can see that.
You're conjuring the chaos for your own life, and it's something that you can.
I can see that. I agree with that. Yeah. I can see that.
So
I can see that.
And the dating pool is filled with single parents. It's not filled with virgins.
Yeah. Yes.
So the people that's on social media complaining about relationships the most are probably part of that same dating pool.
I totally agree. I've been with my wife for 29 years, man. But if I was a single man again, I'm good, man. I'm totally good. Hold tight.
Not wanting a nice guy and not feeling like, hey, this is what I should want. I should want this. What is wrong with you? I have felt bad about that. And I want to know, like, are we wrong for not wanting a nice guy?
Typically, women diss the nice guy. Yeah. He's not cool enough. He's not thug enough. He's not swag enough. Yeah, you want to know when women typically go for the nice guy? After their third baby. Later in life, when they value what he has to offer. But now you got 3 kids. Now you washed up. Everybody done been up in them sugar walls. Now you want a nice guy. Now you want a guy that has...
Because I have felt guilty in the past for not wanting a nice guy and not feeling like...
We talk about maximizing the time.
And that's the part that I find frustrating, Vic. Can you imagine? I know you don't have any kids, but I know you and your wife, she has some. But let's say you had a son, you had Vic Jr., and Vic Jr. was a big-time linebacker, University of Alabama, 5'11", 6'1", 6'2", built like you, because I call you Mighty Mouse. And he was built like his daddy. He was smart, and he didn't have no kids. He made good choices his whole life. I don't think you want your son to settle for that. I don't think you would. No way. Right. I don't think you would want your son to settle for that. I don't knock a man if that's what they want to do. They want to give them. That's their business. I want my son to have the best. Mine as a woman being a widow, I want my son to have the best. I don't knock another man for his own value system. That's what you want to do. That's his business. But for my son, I would never settle for it. I remember when I was young in my 20s. A young coach, I didn't even look at women with kids. I didn't even talk to them. They were nice people. I said, I deserve better because I made good choices my whole life. And you said something that's very true. Women marry the men that are demonic or what I call chaos demons. They give them the kind of lives that they have. 20% of men are not having, only 20% of the men are creating the chaos. You cited off stats earlier about a percentage of men.
16.
16, you said 60 or 16?
16, 1/6.
1/6, right. 16%. And elaborate on that.
The 16% of men that are causing the most children out of wedlock is single daddies, baby daddies.
Right.
They're having they're making 80% of the children out of wedlock with 80% of the women that are unmarried.
Right.
So the single mothers are reproducing with the single fathers. The single fathers are reproducing with the single mothers because that entire community is mostly raised by single mothers. So they're having babies at a 5-to-1 ratio, 5 women to 1 man, and then 59% of that number from the women are having their children with 2 or more men.
Right.
So that is like the end for the single father data too. The numbers that come out of that situation, the men are ages 15 to 19 when they start reproducing.
Mm-hmm.
So who's raising those men between the age of 15 and 19?
Right.
Single mothers lead home ownership at 54%. Mm-hmm. So they're responsible for raising the men that they can't stand, that go out and create more of the children that's raised in the same type of home, because they can't replicate something they have never seen.
Mm-hmm. Right. I agree with that. They can't replicate something they haven't seen. Right. And that's all they've seen, Vic, is dysfunction. That's all they've seen is constant and incessant.
I never saw my mama pregnant.
Dysfunction. Right.
If you grow up seeing your mama pregnant, that's not abnormal. You know.
Shout out to my man, D. May. Shout out to you, brother. America's not a country for men. The needs of men will continue to be ignored. Thank you for motivating me to travel. No doubt, man. I'm happy for you. Safe travels in Thailand. Hold tight.
A child is 50% of one person, 50% of the other. And when they are born, they should come out at 50-50, with the dad having the ability to have 50-50 and the mother being able to have 50. And that way, as fair as possible, you give kids the ability to have both their parents in their lives at the same time. We talk about maximum.
Nobody else think it's cringy that these older women, aunties, MILFs is going after YNs or younger men. Nobody nervous for their sons. Nobody scared. Like, this not cringe for y'all. So nobody else think it's cringy that these older women, aunties.
Dr. Lawanda Hill, PhD, and
women need men.
Yes, they need them for money.
So what do you think about the hypocrisy, Vic, real quick, about these women that are going after these YNs? I don't like using that word. I'm not going to use that word, that derogatory word, but the hypocrisy of women trying to shame men for dating younger women, but yet they're going after these YNs. What's your take on the hypocrisy?
It means they know their shelf life.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. Like you can only have the relationship that you can afford, and it don't have anything to do with money. It has something to do with your compatibility, your ability to manipulate what you want. It turns into like the hypocrisy of it being predatory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to go on the offensive. And generally speaking, most men are not open to direct communication from a woman when she expresses desire for connection. They're a little apprehensive, depending on age and circumstance and whatever else is going on. But in these general situations, it's just women's shelf life that's driving them to do choices based on the availability at the market, telling them, hey, look, who's showing you the most attention and what kind of attention is it? And even then, it's not long-term attention. They have to adjust their priorities and expectations. Again, women live on expectations and men live on experience. So it's not uncommon for a young guy that's in his sexual prime to be in casual sexual relationships with older women, especially of legal age. I don't really care about what the hypocrisy of it is, because men and women got separate value systems, and it's never going to make sense, especially for most people whose grandparents was pregnant with them when they was 13, 14 years old, if that was a scenario, if they, can trace their family back that far. But it's just the market doing a correction.
Yeah. And, now with AI taking over, Vic, there's going to be a lot of sad women, man. Like I said, my mama had my daddy. My mom had congestive heart failure. And I think she had a heart attack the day, bless her heart, that she passed away. But my dad was there. Now, imagine, Vic, my mom was a single woman. They have a husband. They have kids. They have family. Of course, we all going to die alone. When our spirit exits our bodies, when some of these dummies say, well, everybody going to die alone. But we're not talking about that, Sherlock. We know that everybody technically is going to transition outside of their body to either be with God or to be in the bad place. We understand that in that aspect, that when the soul leaves the body, if they're in the presence of God versus going to hell. We understand that part. But ideally, Vic, if you were sick and you pass away, I'm sure you want your wife at your bedside. Or if you were in your home, it would be more advantageous to have your wife at your bedside than to have your wife, then perhaps not to have no women at all. Now, I don't think men care about dying alone as much as women do. I think men are okay with having solitude and they die by themselves. I think men are more okay with that. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I think that based on conditioning, like a lot of this stuff that I wouldn't say at odds with, but what's a hot topic, it comes from conditioning and people having a trauma response to other people's standards of personal convictions. I think that you have to see a way a person lives their life in order to understand if they care about the way that they die. If some of us we care about going out in a blaze of glory like a gladiator, you know what I'm saying? Die in the arena. And some just want, hey man, just leave me in the woods or something,
Right.
I mean, like I haven't been around men that cared about where they died. They cared about honor and valor. So I was in the military for a long time, and most of the men I know, they don't want to die in an embarrassing situation. So I think that a man want to go out the way he lived. Like even when my dad passed away, he passed out. He passed away doing yard work.
Oh man, are you serious, Vic?
I can't make it up.
Wow, man. Wow.
He died taking care of the house.
Wow, man.
He was a diabetic and he had congestive heart failure and the 3-piece routine that goes along with being, black or whatever. But he was a fit man a long time before his health started.
Yeah. I remember you telling me that he used to jog all the time. Right.
He jog a lot and but he also drank a lot of beer. So you can't run your body on the wrong fuel either. So like, I think everybody gets what they earn, man.
Right. I agree.
You only deserve.
I agree. I totally agree with you, brother. I agree with you 100%.
Money, doing things around the house, a fixer-up man.
So you're more traditional. You believe that the man has a certain role in a relationship?
Definitely.
So can you explain to me what's the woman's role?
Cook, enjoy life, get their money. That's it.
Do women?
Tell you right now, I am not being submissive. If you want to be with me,
Now, this one is what we talked about earlier that triggered me a little bit. And about them trying to minimize their past and minimize body count and say only God can judge me. I did a clip on that. It was talking about dysregulation of a lot of these model women, but hold tight.
you need to be the provider. You need to be the protector. You need to make sure my hair is done, my nails done, my feet are done. Look at my yard. I need my grass cut every single week. Don't worry about how many bodies I got. That's the past. God knows my heart.
Bro, let me tell you something about the past.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Let me tell you something about the past.
Go ahead, man.
Women only care about the past when it benefit them.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. 100%.
Because
I agree with you 100%, brother. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Because the other lie that they will tell is that they will get with a psycho, a dude that everybody said is not the right dude for you. And then later on down the line, they'll say, how come did nobody tell me? You didn't care about the past, so you don't get to have it both ways.
Right.
Then the other thing is too that protector provider conversation. This is the buzzwords that I talk about, right? Only husbands and fathers are protectors and providers. Only husbands and fathers are protectors and providers. Fellas, stop listening to women try to emotionally manipulate you into and obligate you into something that you're not willing to put a ring on. If you're not married to her, you don't owe her nothing. She could be under your protection for the night or for the day or for whatever time that y'all spending together. That's fair, you know, but not from her own problems that she created.
Right.
not until you have an obligation to share those problems with her.
Right. I totally agree. Ideally, when it comes down to a woman doing what she's supposed to do, the word husband meant to be caregiver. You know, men created chivalry based on women comporting themselves in a healthy manner. And you know, you got women now that want all the benefits of chivalry, not understanding that healthy patriarchy created chivalry. But they want all the benefits of traditionalism, but they're nowhere near what their mothers, their grandmothers, and their great-grandmothers were. And so, you know, you and I have similar stories, Vic, because my mom had diabetes and had congestive heart failure. You know, thank God she lived to be 75. You know, I feel guilty sometimes because I wish I could have been down there to do more, but you're right. You can't live that kind of life, man, and expect your body not to betray you. God expects us to be stewards of our bodies as well. And even though I know my mom is in the presence of God, you know, it still hurts, man. It hurts a lot. And a lot of times, man, you know, people, they just deal with grief the best way they can, or some people don't talk about grief or deal with it at all. But this, you and I talking and having commonalities and sharing our stories, that's beneficial to me. I think having these conversations help minimize grief. It never goes away. The pain of losing your father never goes away. The pain of losing my mom never goes away. But having the conversation does help soften the blow to some degree.
Yeah. Man, condolences and blessings to you, brother.
Yes,
I'm not going to be cooking. I'm not going to be cleaning. All that is your responsibility. Me and my kids are a package deal. Trust me, if you don't want it.
I'd rather have a child with a man who's financially stable but won't be in the child's life, or with a broke man who will be present in the child's life.
Am I getting child support? I take the financially stable. They're financially. Child support, financially stable.
Give me the one that's not in the child's life. We good. We got the money. We good.
We can pay the bills and help take care of them. They don't got to be there.
Brother,
you know how they grew. How do you think they?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
How do you think they grew up?
Oh, single parent homes and dysfunction.
All right. Yeah, that's all. Like, that's why I was talking about, like, behavior, man. Just let it, like, wives that were mothers that respected men don't raise children that communicate like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. You're right. I agree with that. But you know what I'm saying, though, Vic? You got some women that were raised in good two-parent homes. And we know those might be the exception than the rule. But there are some women that were raised in good two-parent homes, Vic. And they have aborted their mission as well. You know, they've deviated, but we understand there's exceptions for every rule. So we understand that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, like, on the exception side, a lot of times people marry folks that they shouldn't have married.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nothing's 100%, but we know,
right.
We know that you have way more obstacles in a single parent home from the beginning. At no point is a single parent home better than a two-parent home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, statistically, you know what I'm saying? So why start off with less and think that you're going to outperform the other?
Mm-hmm.
So you're really going against the grain to be the exception, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, it's okay to be the exception by actually leading a life with the least amount of trauma as possible, come out healthy on the other side, and not have anything, you know, like, stirring in the background where you have to survive your childhood. A lot of people haven't survived their own childhood yet, and they're trying to create children, and that's some wild business when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree. Hold tight.
This is the unwritten truth.
I cannot stand when a woman is single and pregnant.
This is the bullshit, right? I got snapped.
You won't get pregnant.
Stepdads are men that women wouldn't want if they didn't have kids.
For sure, they're settling.
It's because they're trying to get a man to replace what they don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Their baby daddy leave. They're like, damn, like, I'll be lucky to get whatever I can get. Let me go back to this one. He wanted me. Let me go back to that one. He wanted me.
I know he's a good guy.
And I know he's a good guy.
Yep.
I done had 2 kids with this bum who not taking care of him. So let me see if he want me again. And you know, there's a lot of men that fall for that. And that's the thing. Why would you want to take care of another man's child?
I agree.
Like, that's what you're selling for as a man.
Woo.
I mean,
I don't care. Stepdads are men that
pretty don't even ensure that you would get a ring. Men don't marry looks. We have sweet looks. Men.
What do you say? What do you think? What do you think about what she said, Vic?
I think that is just a dark truth that most women already understand. Again, market correction. The guy that she don't want her, so she got to go with who's ever offering. They know that they don't have that many options in terms, like, especially with kids involved. And they know that there's some dirty work that they don't want to do, especially if they got sons. I believe the women with sons definitely are in that market.
Right.
And you can't have the least amount of resources that you can make the rules.
I agree. And you know what, Vic? You grew up in Alabama. I grew up in North Carolina. Back in the day, Vic, if a woman had a baby, especially she's a widow, that's a little bit more understandable. She lost her husband, But widows that had kids were humble women because they understood that their value wasn't as high as a single woman with kids. But you got chicks now that got 5 and 6 kids by multiple men, and they got all these extraneous demands. And it's baffling. And I'm going to show you a video clip on the end how delusional a lot of these women are. But sure, I will definitely do that, dear. God in heaven is my witness. I'm going to be praying for your father tonight. We're going to touch and agree together. He will be in my prayers tonight. I promise you. My heart goes out to your father, and I pray that God protect him. But I will be praying for your father. It won't be one of those cliches, when everybody say, "Oh, I'll be praying," and all this nonsense. So my condolences. No, I'm going to literally pray for your father tonight. I'm going to get on my knees and ask God to intervene in a special way for your dad tonight. So I will be doing that on tonight. Shout out to my man Detroit 313. So right now in Indianapolis, I'm seeing a lot of brothers are marrying out to white women in the Philippines. What do you think about that, Vic?
Man, I just think it's
sure. Okay.
Another market correction, man. I think it's just a testament that men marry behavior. Men, I think that's just as simple as that. Like, men marry behavior, and if they're not compatible behavior-wise with where they are in their current market, then expect men to have options elsewhere. See, I talk about, man, like I've been around the world, man, and I don't see men in other countries rushing to America looking for wives.
I totally agree.
And when they're looking for wives, they're definitely not looking for African American women. And in general, they're not looking for American women to marry.
Yes, sir. I agree with you 100%. Yes, sir.
So then, if they had to choose, at what point would African American women come up on their list?
Yes, sir. Right.
So men and women don't have the same value system. The value system that men and women have in the Western world, in the United States, it's not going to work outside of here. Even if you're a man, you're going to have to go conform to someone else's culture to have, an option at a traditional relationship with a woman that produces children in a family.
Right.
Those women from those cultures, they value their culture differently than we do here. And if we don't value family, we're not going to recognize what a healthy union looks like outside of this situation that we live in the Western world.
No, I agree with you. And Vic, I got that for you, brother. Okay. I'll take care of that for you whenever you need to. Okay, hold tight.
Behavior. Your behavior determines whether you get the ring.
Look, he just said behavior.
Halle Berry is beautiful. Kim Kardashian is beautiful to a lot of people. There's a slew of women that have the money and the fame, but they cannot keep. We marry behavior. So if you are not even proficient at the things that are intrinsically important to a man, you can't be high value, because your money ain't intrinsically important to us. You being soft is. You anticipating what we need and providing that without us having to prompt you or action.
What happened to the lost art of femininity to women when women improvise, Vic, and they know what a man wants? They are attuned to what a man wants, and they're willing, Vic, to acquiesce to the needs of a man. What happened to that? We know what happened to it, but I want you to reiterate what happened to it in your own opinion.
I think women would say that they felt unappreciated, obviously, and then I would think that men felt undervalued in their own way as well. but the statistical data would lean on feminism having a huge impact into traditional relationships and marriage. I know at an anecdotal level, most people are going to refer to the abuse that their grandparents inflicted on each other, the infidelity, all of the other, behavioral driven things. But and that's at the micro level, but at the macro level, the dissolution of the two-parent home through integration, especially in the Black community, through integration, feminism, liberal politics, a lot of people cosplaying, as being pro-Black family, and really just dismantling the Black family infrastructure from within. And then you throw in the crack epidemic, COINTELPRO, mass incarceration, just a lot of macro programs that have been documented to destroy our influence, And then with the mass incarceration piece, you left a whole bunch of women out to raise children. Then there was no therapy, no emotional discipline. Matter of fact, I would argue before therapy and all this emotional conversation about managing emotions, that's where gangster rap music came in. It was more the form of expression for men who have problems too.
Right. I agree with that. I agree with that. Yes, sir. Right.
That's why we competed so much to keep it. Like,
right.
This is dangerous. Like, we don't have no outlet.
Right. I agree with you 100%. I agree 100%.
Because the freaks getting freaky with all of the women in the church, and they pandering to women, they performing. So where are Black men gonna go to get their grievances off and be
heard? I agree. Yes, sir.
So
I totally agree.
The church didn't step in and reinforce how important men are to the community, which the church is supposed to be a staple in the community.
Yes, sir.
It's supposed to be representative of male leadership as well, or it could be. Then you got entertainment being the only thing that was reciprocal to our current our environments at the time. Like, show me another place prior to the last 10 years where men can express themselves, and say how they felt, outside of NWA. We got a song, Express Yourself.
Guys, go check out Vic's book, Accountability and Masculinity, on Amazon. Go check it out, guys. Go check that book out. Shout out to my man Barry Hamilton for that $5 a pound. Go check out Vic's book. And you're right, Vic. Dr. William Glasser said the needs drive behaviors. There was a time when the church was declaring callers of valor, truth, and responsibility. Many churches now, not all, but many churches are weak. But I think the Bible itself is very masculine. But the so-called ambassadors of the gospel do not portray the gospel in a way that Christ or our ancestors would appreciate. And sadly, because of that, we have the current crisis that we have now. You're correct. Inner city violence and trauma and all that was manifest through gangster rap. And one could argue that they didn't have to sing that kind of music, but art imitates life.
Black men been getting tone police like nobody. They
right.
Step up, and they said, we don't like the way you step up.
Right.
But we don't like what you said. We want you to be present, but we don't like the way you look. Nothing is ever good enough, So, but that's just the reality of it, man. Being masculine comes with opposition. Nobody's here to embrace you. You're supposed to set a standard, and people don't like people that set standards.
Yes, sir. I agree. You're 100% correct. And you know what the standard was 30, 40, 50 years ago, Vic? The standard was 50 to 70 years ago, virgin, wife rating, no children. That's what the standard was. Now women are trying to change the standard. They didn't respect men, so men say, you know what, we're going to become passport bros. They still trying to critique the standard. Anytime men try to do anything outside the approval of the women in this country, white or black, then it's a problem. And that's why you're seeing so many men becoming indifferent, apathetic, and don't care. Like I said, if I was a single man again, I would never marry the typical average American woman. I wouldn't even look at them for a wife. I wouldn't even look at them because I know a lot of them got baggage. They want a partner, you know, they say it with emphasis, I want my partner. They don't even say partner. When they put that emphasis on, you know you're heading for trouble. I want a partner. You know, they don't want a husband. They don't want to submit to a man's leadership. And they want the man to do what they want the man to do. They want a husband based on their feminine fears and their ability to control the man. Happy wife, happy life. I know you got to go, man. Anytime you need to drop it, let me know. I'll leave this up, but I'm going to keep playing this for a few minutes, and I'm going to end it too. But anytime you got to pop off, so be it.
Not knowing your worth.
All right.
And pretty don't even ensure that you would get a ring.
I'm tired of being single. I want to be a wife.
Well, darling, I hear you. And I feel for you too. But here's the thing. That ship has sailed. Men no longer want a wife. They don't even want a girlfriend or significant other anymore. I'm sorry, I know that's not what you want to hear, but that is the reality now. But I do have a suggestion for you. Why not just go find yourself another woman who's looking to get wifed up, and then you can wife each other up. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's not ideal. We both know that the lesbian divorce rate is sky high. But at least for a little while, you can be wifed up. I hope it works out for you. I genuinely do. But the fact of the matter is, you need to realize that men are done wifing women up. There's no benefit, no reward, and a whole bunch of risk. So going to plan B and marrying another woman is probably your best option now.
I'm tired of being single. I want to be a wife.
Well, darling, I hear you. And I feel for you too.
They said they love you. Oh, no, they on there talking about they love you, though.
I know it, but they got hot flashes, and what's that other shit they get?
Menopause.
Yeah! What the f*** I do with that?
With an old bitch.
Win now is 300 and up. One wig will put a big...
Because I'm big-breasted, that's why.
No, man, because you're overweight. I want women who have far bigger... Man, listen. I'm not trying to... No one can see your picture. But see... What I need you to do is turn down the diva energy because it's not helping you.
Now you're trying to say I have diva energy?
Yes.
Oh,
because
wow.
you got this energy like, well, you're mean and you're this and that. I'm like, well, you're the one that called in and said, hey, I'm having problems attracting non-weak men.
Correct.
And I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm like, well, you attract what you are.
Ooh.
So do I. We all attract what we are.
Just because I weigh more than a man does not mean that.
Most women that say they want a good man, if you bring her one right now, she probably gonna fuck it up.
Do you think that women are single by choice?
Them saying they're single by choice is because they've been unsuccessful in finding one. We say that we want to be single because we can't find that one because we're incapable in this season of managing ourselves in that. If you told a woman right now, I have the man, the one you want. If God himself said, right now, if you want this, I have the guy that you want. Everything laid out, everything you want. Because you know, all women say they got their different preferences. I got your preference right here, ready for a relationship. She's not going to say, no, thank you. I'm going to stay single. They want a man. That verbiage of wanting a man on our level, that is our ignorant way of saying that I don't know how to balance this new embodied power I have as a successful woman with being a woman in the presence of a man. Most
POV. Can a man look at a woman the same?
And what women don't understand is that, or some women don't understand that when there is a crisis and when there's an impending crisis going on all the time, when a man decides to make a woman his wife, her virtue is very important to him. But if a woman gets entered by another man, that man never sees her the same again. Or especially if she get entered while they're married. And many women don't understand that, but it's true. Men are not wired to accept that. They're not. So get over it. And this man clearly identifies it and breaks it down.
After she cheats?
Well, I can't. Because, you know, after she cheats, she's not special anymore. You know? The work that I put in, you gave to somebody for free. So now, you know, I don't want to put the work in no more. I want that same free treat. I don't want to listen to your stories, have to take you out, do all the nice things that I like doing, but now I don't like doing it because I know someone else got the same rewards for nothing. It's like they didn't have to invest nothing. I did. So now, you may not be for the streets, but you're street worthy. You don't look the same anymore, neither. It's a Rizzo cuzzo.
Women, they are doing the same thing to us that they...
How would you feel about that, Mohammed?
None couldn't find.
Do you try to get your ex-husband back?
No. I felt a little.
Now look at how delusional some of these women are. Look at how delusional some of these women are. Check this out.
Ratchet afterwards.
How long was you married for?
19 years.
So you divorced your husband of 19 years all because you wanted to have sex with another man?
Yeah.
Do you regret doing that?
Yeah.
Do you try to get your ex-husband back?
No. I felt a little.
Fuck you for taking the kids. Fuck you for making him go for a court case he couldn't win.
Hello. How are you?
Look at how delusional this woman is. And see, many times the lack of self-awareness is what causes men to have mental health crises. But not only that, when women project their unresolved traumas and issues to men, that plays a role on a man's mental health as well. Many men are taking their lives, are dying either mentally or they're dying spiritually because they're in the hands of a bad woman. And then also dealing with underlying traumas from their past, from their parents, from their environments, from their communities. And many times it can all go back to one common factor, family. Family and community many times is a prevailing factor.
We have to see your face, baby.
Oh, sure. Oh, I'm coming. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
What's your name, love?
London.
London? How old are you, London?
I'm 24.
Okay, where you calling me from?
Fairfield, North Carolina.
North Carolina. Oh, we just had a guy from North Carolina. How old are you?
I'm 24.
Oh, you told me that, 24. What you do for a living, boo?
I work.
What do you do?
I work for a nail salon.
Okay, you work for a nail salon. You have any kids?
No, man.
No kids. Do you believe in zodiac signs?
No.
Okay. So we got London, North Carolina, 24. She works. No kids. Never married, correct? Okay. Ooh. What kind of man you looking for, girl?
Tall man, dread-headed.
Tall man and dread-headed. Okay. Anything else?
No. You gotta be tall.
You gotta be tall. Okay. What are your deal breakers?
I don't want a man to lie to me, so that's one of my deal breakers.
You don't want a man to lie to you?
Yes, I do not.
Okay, no liars. Okay, fair enough. Should he look a certain way? Well, you said tall and dreadhead, correct?
Yes.
So if he didn't have dreads, you wouldn't want them? You wouldn't want him?
No.
How tall does he have to be?
6 foot.
Have you ever dated a man that was tall?
How can this woman make these demands and not have any level of self-awareness? Only in America can out-of-shape women make these kinds of demands on a man. Only in America can women of this ilk make demands on a man. Only in America. And this is how problematic our country has begun. This is how problematic our country is or has began. It's unfortunate.
Dreads?
No.
And you will only date that man that's tall with dreads?
Yeah.
Hypothetical question. Let's say a man that's tall with dreads doesn't want to date you back. You're okay with never dating another man?
Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Oh, okay. So, be tall. At least how much?
6 foot.
6 foot and have dreads. Those that's non-negotiable.
Yes.
And if you are not tall, and if no man comes forward that is over 6 foot and has dreads and wants to date her back, she is okay with never dating again.
Yes.
Why?
But that's how I am.
So you will go your whole life never having a relationship with another man, all because he's not over 6 feet and has dreads?
Yes.
You're 24 years old.
Yes, I am.
I would like to talk to you at 30 and see if you still feel this way.
Okay.
We can continue though. Should he make a certain amount of money?
Yes.
How much?
$1 million.
Oh, you're on drugs.
No.
She said $1 million. She said $1 million. This woman is overweight, comes off as being a little slow, and I got all these high demands. She said $1 million.
You're sober?
I'm not on drugs.
There's no substance abuse?
No.
No.
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to figure the same thing out with you. What are you talking about?
You said I'm on drugs?
Yeah, because of what you said, it made me feel like maybe you just weren't in your right mind.
I am on my right mind.
You are in your right mind.
Yes, but I'm not on drugs.
Okay, you're not on drugs. We could dispute that. So I heard you correctly. He has to be over 6 feet, have dreads, and make $1 million.
Yes.
And that's the only man.
I'm all about that money.
Do not declare bankrupt.
What's wrong with me molding my wife? Let me ask you a question. First off, I can't deal with the group.
She said she all about that money, guys. Yeah, she giving North Carolina a real bad name, man. She's giving North Carolina a horrible name. We're going to end this in a minute, guys. We're going to listen to Kevin, and we're going to end it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for Brother St. James for being the #1 sponsor. I appreciate it. But we're going to end this in a minute. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you once again.
But let me ask you, if you say black men don't like you, have you asked them why?
No, I never asked why because
hold on. Are you? Did you go to college?
Huh?
Did you go to college?
Did I go to college? No.
Okay, but you have a job.
Yes, I got a full-time job. Yeah.
Okay, so if you had a restaurant and you served chicken, and you put it in the middle of a place where people eat chicken, but nobody's coming to your chicken restaurant, would you say that these people over here just don't like chicken? These people are fucked up because they don't eat my chicken because I'm black? Or would you go out to the neighborhood or the consumers and ask them, have you tried my chicken?
All right, guys. This was just a quick snapshot. I had dropped the link, guys, for you guys to call in, but it's all good. Guys, please forgive the profanity. Trying to get away from content that uses a lot of profanity, man. But thank you guys for tuning in. We know that male mental health is a problem here in America. Over 6,000 men have taken their lives due to self-deletion. And many times the key culprit could be tied back to bad relationships. We're in a critical crossroad in America. And you know, if you're dealing with the mental health crisis, guys, come see me at kosherclinician@gmail.com for non-diagnostic consultation. But also, please check out, if you're going to a mental health crisis, dial 988 for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. I wish we could have had a conversation with guys coming up, but it's understandable guys don't want to come through. But anyway, we're going to end the stream here, guys. Thank you to those that watched, and hopefully I'll be seeing you guys on tomorrow. You guys take care, and y'all have a good night. Thank you. Right.
Fire!